Welcome back, everybody, to our final workshop of 2020 for CanHack 2021. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. Couple reminders for the end of the year and for the new year. We will be sending out surveys by the end of the week to early next week for teachers and students to see how you have, what you've thought of the program and any feedback you might have. And lastly, for our RBC optional mentorship workshop, that looks like due to high demand, we will be going forward with that workshop. That workshop will be next Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. This is optional, so students are not required to. For those that do complete the survey, they'll be put into a draw to win gift cards. So if you're interested, please do the surveys. It will be helpful for our feedback. As well, in regards to the previous workshops, all the slides are up for all the workshops that have existed this semester. The recordings, majority of them are up. We are still missing 2 of them, and they will be up shortly. Please make sure you have watched all the workshops by the start of next semester, as you know, they'll all be important for the 202 session. Just a reminder in regards to that, a schedule for the new year will be sent out to all teachers by the end of next week. And then the last piece of news I want to leave you with is a bit of exciting news. We've been working on this for a little while now, and there'll be a detailed email going out to your teacher shortly, but we're looking to create actually a badge for students who do complete this program by the end of the year and prior to the competition. This badge will allow you to be put on your LinkedIn, your resume, whatever the case may be, to, you know, kind of show off the skills that you've learned in all these workshops. So more information to come, and stay tuned. Without further ado, we can get started. So today's workshop is on critical thinking and cybersecurity. Today we are joined by Lance Spitzner. He is the director of the SANS Security Awareness. The SANS Institute is a U.S. company that specializes in information security, cybersecurity training, and selling certificates. Their training and certifications are globally recognized, and many cybersecurity professionals aspire to complete SANS training and certification. It's my pleasure to introduce Lance.
Hey, all right. Thanks so much, folks, and welcome. Hey, since it's the end of the year, this is the last one. We're going to keep this short, we're going to keep this fun, and we're going to keep this informal. As mentioned, my name is Lance Spitzner. I'm a director at SANS Security Awareness, and I've been a cybersecurity practitioner for well over 20 years now. So instead of talking about critical thinking, we all thought we'd expand this a little bit, no more along the lines of what's being in cybersecurity, how can I get started, what makes a good cybersecurity professional, and why should I get involved, what to expect, all of that. So it's going to be fun, it's going to be informal, but most important, it should be helpful to you and your career. And I'll be sharing some fun links where you can learn a lot more. And by the way, please feel free to ask me questions in the chat window. I'll be watching it. Some of the other folks will be watching it, and we'll get to those at the end of the class. So first and foremost, cybersecurity, what's it like? What's it all about? Well, if you've seen all the movies out there and you think about cybersecurity, you probably think it's something like this. You know, we're the digital guardians of cyberspace, doing battle with the bad guys and saving the world. And in some ways, this is what cybersecurity is all about. But you know what? There's a flip side to cybersecurity. And on the flip side, cybersecurity is also about geeking out, nerding out, getting into the technology, and yes, spending a lot of time in front of that computer screen. But one of the key things I want to emphasize to everybody listening to this talk right now, absolutely anyone and everyone can get involved in and become a cybersecurity professional. I sound like Remy from Ratatouille. I should have Ratatouille up here. Anyone can cook. Trust me, anyone can get involved in cybersecurity. Doesn't matter what your background is. You can be a music teacher. You can be a music educator. Doesn't matter what your passions are. There's a whole field of opportunity here. And to really emphasize that key point, I'm going to show you a very special screen, a very special slide here. And that's this. Here are pictures of many of the people I work with in cybersecurity all over the world. People from different countries, nationalities, races, religions, age groups. Absolutely anybody and everybody can be involved in and make an impact in cybersecurity. So we all have very diverse backgrounds, and we're all very diverse people. One of the things I love about this slide is it not only shows that diversity and backgrounds. That guy in the upper left-hand corner, he's one of my favorite, Randy Marchini. He's the CISO at Virginia Tech. He's also a diehard hippie. But let me ask you a question. One of the people now they're all cybersecurity experts and professionals. One of the people in this slide worked with U.S. Army Special Forces. In fact, they worked with U.S. Army Special Forces Delta Force on one of the most top secret missions that ever happened in the past 10 years. Can you guess which one of these individuals worked with and was part of Delta Force, U.S. Army Special Forces, in a very, very highly classified security initiative? If you guessed this guy down here, Paul Henry, I probably would have guessed too. Paul, by the way, is a character, and that individual is probably one of the world's experts when it comes to cloud security. But in reality, the cybersecurity expert on this screen that was worked with and a key part of Delta Force, the most specialized part of the U.S. Army Special Forces, is this person right here. Heather Mahalik. She's a mom, 2 kids, and what's fantastic about her is she is recognized as one of the world's experts when it comes to mobile device or mobile media forensics. When she worked with U.S. Army's Delta Force, when U.S. Army Special Forces, the Delta Force team, went in to take out Osama bin Laden, and they went in and actually took him out. This Delta Force team then collected all Osama bin Laden's smartphones, tablets, mobile media, put it all in a highly classified bag, and then shipped it overseas with armed guards. And they flew it directly to Heather. And Heather was the trusted expert to analyze those materials and let the U.S. government know everything that terrorist organization was up to. So many things I love about this slide. People coming from all different types of backgrounds, people coming and having all sorts of impact. You see the gal in the lower right-hand corner that just graduated college? You know where she went straight after college when she graduated? She joined one of the security team at Snapchat. See the chap in the lower right-hand corner with that Drago shirt, Rob Lee, considered one of the world's experts in critical infrastructure. And helping secure power plants, water treatment plants, things like that. And what I love about these people is they're all great people. So we're going to get into the nerdy technical part of cybersecurity, but I don't care who you are or what your background is. You can be a cybersecurity professional and you can make a big difference and have a blast while doing it. Okay, so now that we've covered the groundwork, doesn't matter who you are, anyone can be involved in cybersecurity. Let me show you my background. So, do I have any cybersecurity training or experience before I started? No, None. I, at college, was a military history major. Yes, I was a history major. I was actually going to be a veterinarian. I went to University of Illinois, and I was like, whoa, that vet thing looks really too hard. This history thing looks more fun, a little easier. And after getting my degree, I spent 4 years in the military as a tank officer. So in other words, I'm a history major who then spent 4 years roaming around in tanks. And then after the military, I went and got my master's in business administration at University of Illinois in Chicago. In other words, do you see cybersecurity, computer science, coding, math, anything technical in that background? No. Basically, I'm a guy who read a lot of books, blew things up, and then went and got a business degree. But what's fantastic is this. All of these experiences have played a key role in me becoming a better and more effective cybersecurity professional. The whole eye of history taught me to learn lessons from history, the mistakes people made. I become a better writer, a better reader, a better communicator. In the military, I learned all about I learned all about military intelligence and the importance of know your enemy, which started me off in a 10-year career in cybersecurity in cyber threat intelligence. In my MBA program, I learned how organizations and businesses operate so I could align cybersecurity with those strategic priorities. So what's great is if you're an English major, if you're a graphic designer, if you're a psychology major, any of those, or not major, we're all in high school, but I should say interest in those fields. And each and every one of those interests brings tremendous value to this field, and we need it. So what exactly is cybersecurity? Well, each one of these, the reason we picked each of these fields, each of these professions in here, is each of these professions has their equivalent in cybersecurity. In other words, you may have this vision where a cybersecurity professional is very specific. They're sitting at their computer hacking into or trying to hack into a site or a system. That is part of cybersecurity, but a very small part. Just like there's pathologists in the real world, in cybersecurity, that would be somebody like in forensics or incident response, risk analysis, that's somebody doing maybe threat actor analysis, communication specialists. Doctors try to treat people so they don't get sick. In cybersecurity, we treat computers so they don't become infected. As safety inspectors, inspect things to make sure they're safe. Penetrations testers test things to make sure that they're secure. Police keep the bad guy out and look for bad guys doing bad things. In cybersecurity, you have the same thing. Endpoint defense, threat hunting, things like that. So cybersecurity, especially nowadays, 20 years ago, you kind of did a little bit of everything. But nowadays, cybersecurity is huge. It's broad. There are so many different areas to get involved in that don't even try to figure out what you want to specialize in right now because you probably haven't seen it all. And to be honest, by the time you graduate college, there will be a huge number of additional and exciting fields to get involved in. But that's something else I love about cybersecurity. It's growing and it's new. It's not like medicine where things have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years and you have to do it the way everybody else has done it. It's not like law where that's the way we've done it for hundreds of years and you have to do it also. Cybersecurity is like, wow, we've never dealt with this problem before. What do you think we should do? So quite often you're getting to invent the rules and invent the solutions because everything is so new and so exciting. It's one of the things I love about this field. Now, when you're thinking, ooh, I want to get involved in cybersecurity, you might be, ooh, do I want to be a security analyst, engineer, security architect, security principal? What exactly are those? Who cares? Don't worry about this. These titles mean nothing. Yes, you can go online. What's the average salary of a security engineer, security architect, security principal? To be honest, these titles are very vague. Every company has their own definition of what these are. So don't get too caught up about titles. This field, like I said, is very new, so a lot of things aren't well defined. Instead of going, I want to be a security engineer, what you want to start doing is thinking about all the different exciting roles that are out there. And these things are just developing. Now, many fields in cybersecurity are technical. And these are many of the different fields that would be technical. So penetration testing is when you're trying to hack into your own organization or others to help identify weaknesses and vulnerabilities. A security operations center is the nerve center that's collecting all the data from all the different systems. Forensics and incident response is when something bad has happened and your job is to parachute in and figure out how the bad guys got in. Do we need to kick them out? What data did they access? Endpoint security. How do we secure all those computers and all those devices people around the world are using? Vulnerability management. How do we keep all our servers, database servers, web servers, application servers, DNS, mail? How do we keep them updated, current, and secure? Security architecture. How do we design networks? There's concepts like zero trust security, where all of our devices and systems and data are more secure. Cyber threat intel. I love one of those. Cyber threat intel is kind of like military intelligence. It's like working for the NSA or CIA. Your job is to try to learn everything you can about the bad guys so you can better defend against them. Threat hunting is kind of like pen testing, but the opposite. Pen testing is trying to hack your way into the organization. Threat hunting is assuming the bad guys have already gotten into your organization. Now your job is to try to find them. That's especially applicable when you're dealing with more sophisticated cyber attackers like nation state. In fact, you might have seen in the news in the past 24 hours that one of the biggest, best, well-known cybersecurity companies called FireEye recently got hacked by a super advanced threat of Russian cyber attackers. It was highly sophisticated, highly targeted. We're going to be learning more about this in the cloud. Take everything I just talked about, mix it all up, and apply it to the cloud. AWS, Azure, that's all, the cloud is the new happening thing. Now, this is just some of the many exciting things you can do in cybersecurity, but it's not all just technical. There's risk management, policy governance, legal or security awareness, managing human risk. That's an entirely new field that's developing now. And that's actually my field of study. For my first 10 years, I was very technical. But in the past 10 years, I've now been very much focused on the human side. So I've been in cybersecurity for well over 20 years now, and very much started on the technical side. Most of the things you see here, I really started in many different ways, but now focus on the human side. Now, what's great about cybersecurity, doesn't matter what country you're in, what industry you're in, company you're with. You could be a nonprofit, you could be a financial, you could be a government, you could be a utility. Every company out there needs your help securing their data, securing their systems. The Canadian government, nonprofits. In fact, I was just teaching a class. I had 3 different students from Canada. I think one from Ottawa. So if we have anybody from Ottawa, I was helping secure Ottawa there. So what's really exciting though, folks, is cybersecurity is a job that now opens doors to you at a global level. So cybersecurity is so global, so interconnected, very, very exciting field. So you're like, all right, Glenn, it's cool. Do I need a computer science degree? Absolutely not. Now, a computer science degree, a computer engineering degree, any type of technical degree can help you, but in no way precludes you from cybersecurity. I know English teachers, I know psychology majors, video editors, graphic designers, artists, psychology major, you name it, librarians who decided to shift into cybersecurity and discovered they have the attributes needed to really succeed. So while a computer science degree may open doors, cybersecurity is far less about your degree and far more about it's more about you as a person and what you know. So if you could be the smartest person in the world, but if you have a huge ego and it's all about you and you can't get along with anyone, then you're going to have a hard time finding opportunities. But if you really understand the technology and you're really passionate, people are going to be less concerned about your degree, far more concerned about who you are, how you help, and what you know. So, like I said, I'm a history major. Now, technical skills are going to help you. Even if you don't get involved in fields in cybersecurity that are technical, like risk management, like the human side of security, having technical skills will help. And this is really where you're going to want to start your foundation. And the core areas you can develop technical skills are things like coding, networking, how systems talk to each other, systems administration, how do you build and maintain servers, applications, and then anything wireless, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, and there's others out there. But one of the things I want to emphasize is security is not means just coding. So I actually have very little coding experience, very little coding background. I know some basic Python, HTML. I'm very good at scripting, but C, C++, Java, I know very little about coding. But back in my technical days, I was very much an expert in networking, perimeter defense, firewalls, system administration. Very good at Unix. So there's different areas you can specialize in from a technical perspective, but let your interests guide you. So is coding required? No. Is it helpful? Yes. But to be honest, there's other areas too, networking, system, like I've got listed here. So the key thing is we're less concerned about what your degree is. We're more interested in what your skills are. And the whole thing I'm going to be really want to emphasizing here is people have this perception that cybersecurity is all about hacking and being a hacker, which in some ways may be true. But there's this perception hackers are really good at finding vulnerabilities and weaknesses and how to hack those weaknesses. And to be honest, that is not what cybersecurity is all about. Cybersecurity is not about learning what's broken. Cybersecurity is all about learning how things work. The idea here is, folks, hacking is not about breaking things. Hacking is all about knowing how things work. I really want to emphasize this. You don't buy a book, you don't go run some tools and then learn how to break into things. Cybersecurity is all about learning how things work. And once you learn how things work, then you can find the vulnerabilities, then you can find the weaknesses and either exploit them or fix them, depending on what your role is. But the key thing is here, you have to have a passion and a desire to learn how things work. If that's not your passion, then that's not your desire. Then cybersecurity may not be the field for you. But if you're going to want to tinker and learn and things like that, then this is really going to be helpful. Now, also, the one other thing I want to emphasize is to help you succeed, you do need to have people skills, especially nowadays. Now, when I first started 20 years ago, it was purely about your technical skills. But as cybersecurity is starting to be embedded in all elements of an organization, we're starting to see more and more for people skills also. So if you have strong people skills, but weak technical skills, but are willing to develop your technical skills, you're going to have amazing opportunities. In fact, that's me. I have good people skills, but I had to work at developing my technical skills. So now some of you may be going, well, Lance, why cybersecurity? Lots of differences. You get a chance to make a difference and help the world. We started to slide off with the matrix. You know what? In some ways, it's true. Cybersecurity is touching everyone, everywhere. You are a cyber defender from evil. Huge number of job opportunities. Trust me, the unemployment rate for cybersecurity is pretty much zero. You get to work for anywhere in the world, including home if you want to. And like I already showed you, there's so many different areas to specialize in, and there's constantly new ones being developed. And finally, and this is a big one for me, cybersecurity is really new. It's really only been around for 20 years, and it's really only started formalizing in the past 10 years. So the field is very still immature. You're going to get to develop a lot of the rules. You're going to help lay the path of the future. And just to show you here, this is a map from CyberSeek. It's from the United States. I know it's US specific, but basically this map is showing the jobs desperately in need. If nothing else, the lower left-hand corner. They're saying, there's over 400,000 job openings right now. In other words, 500,000 employed, 900,000 opportunities. So we have a gap of 400,000 we need to fill in this country, let alone Canada. But not only are there a lot of job opportunities, but the finances, the compensation is very nice. Now, don't go into this field just for the money, but it is a very nice perk. So you have job security. You can pretty much work anywhere in the world you want. You have your choice of fields, and you're going to make some pretty good money. Now, cybersecurity engineer implies more senior. So I don't want you to think this is where you're going to start. But we can make some pretty good money almost regardless of where you want to go. So, folks, and how did you overcome it? So, Carissa asks a really good question, fantastic question, and oddly enough, this slide answers it. So, when I got out of the Army, I went into in grad school, got my MBA, and got started in technology and cybersecurity. And probably, so just once again, to answer Carissa's question, what's the hardest challenge you have overcome and how did you overcome it? So Carissa, my lack of technical skills. And I knew I was interested in this field, but I didn't code. I didn't know what a network was, had no idea what Unix was, what's a web server, and, what is a server? Is it hardware? Is it software? And things like that. So one of the key things I did, and folks, this is probably the most important thing if you really want to get involved in this career. And this is where that critical thinking comes in. If you really want to start in cybersecurity, a degree is great. The certifications are great. Reading books is great. Probably the number one place to start, though, is set up a lab at home. This is what I love about cybersecurity. If you're a doctor, you have to get experience working with real people. If you're in construction, you have to go to the sites and build. If you're in woodworking or an electrician, you have to work with the materials. But since we deal in cyberspace, you can bring your work, your world into home. So if I was in high school and wanted to learn, I would set up my own lab. I would set up some computers. I'd make the computers talk to each other. I'd hack into other computers. What is a web server? I don't know. Let's set one up. What's a DNS server? I don't know. Let's set one up. What's a file server? What's Docker? What are containers? And you can either buy computers and set them up in your room, like I had to do, or nowadays you can do this all for free in the cloud. You don't know what AWS or the cloud is? Boom, that's the first step. Setting up in the cloud. Just setting up your lab will develop all these technical skills. What's Unix? What's Linux? What's Windows? How do I make them talk to each other? What's this TCP IP? What's routing? And then, what's an IP address? What's application versus kernel? And what happens is just setting up this lab starts developing your skills. But then, like I said, they're talking to each other, they're hacking to each other, so you can set up your own servers, gaming servers for your other friends. You can set up servers and have your friends hack into your servers. They set up servers and you hack into theirs. That's how I started. You capture it all, you analyze it all. So, Carissa, the number one problem I had to overcome, my lack of technical expertise. How did I do it? I set up my own home lab. Now, some of you may be going, well, how do I set up my own lab? Probably one of the people I admire the most in this field. He is a profound expert and gives to the community is a guy named John Strand. And he found a company called Black Hills InfoSec. And he just released a webcast a couple of months ago on how to build your own lab so you can learn cybersecurity. And that's that link in the bottom. I'll share my slides so you guys can get a copy. But Black Hills InfoSec, and if you want, just do a search, webcast John Strand or Black Hills InfoSec, setup lab. I can't emphasize this enough. If you do this and you develop all these skills, you will become very good at cybersecurity. And to be honest, if I'm hiring somebody and somebody tells me, I've got 10 different certifications I earned, and another person tells me, I set up my own lab and I learned all these skills, I will always pick the person who set up the lab and learned their skills as opposed to a person who has just a bunch of certifications. Now, certifications are great. They demonstrate your expertise. But if you don't have the skills, the other thing is if you tell me you set up a lab, that shows me you have passion to learn and continually learn. So first and foremost, so you can definitely go take online classes. Fantastic. You can go codeacademy.com, learn how to code. Fantastic. Take YouTube videos, learn. Read books, learn. But you have to apply it in your own lab. Also, something else I recommend, join communities, capture the flag events, things like that. Capture the flag is all about, or the original concept of capture the flag, especially popularized like DEF CON and things, is when you have a network and you're trying to hack into the network and then hack into it, break into systems, capture certain files to prove you hacked into it, flags. And the more advanced CTFs have tiers, and each tier is harder. So you capture a tier 1 flag, then you go to tier 2, and there are going to be 7, 8, 9 tiers. And a capture the flag event is all about applying your skills to hack into systems. But like I said, if you read a book on how to hack, you're actually going to be a bad hacker. If you read a book about how networking works, how applications work, how operating systems work, and you understand all the technology, it takes much longer. But oh boy, do you have those skills. It's like, advanced magician level or something like that. Understanding how things work is the key. And that's where you prove your skills at these things, at these events. So there's all sorts of capture the flag events. One you may know of is Pico. There's the URL right there, but one you may not know about is the Holiday Hack Challenge. It's put on by a guy named, it's a whole team, but it originated by SANS instructor Ed Scotus. And it's a capture the flag, and it's fantastic fun, but it always has a Christmas theme. And so you're working with Santa and the elves to do good decode attacks and things like that. So a capture the flag is not just about hacking anymore. It can also about, hey, here's an image of a hacked system. Your job is to decode what the bad guy did, how they got in, and things like that. All right, if you really want to develop your skills, I highly recommend SANS Cyber Camp, which is free, coming up at the end of this month. It's a series of presentations by SANS instructors on how teams can become better security professionals. So it's all technology talks about different fields. So we have a person that's specializing in mobile forensics, talking about how to hack mobile forensics. We have somebody front that specializes in the cloud, talking about the cloud. But at the end, hosting a capture the flag. So what's great is you're going to develop all sorts of technical expertise from the very people who teach it and help others learn. And these are people like Heather Mahalik. Remember Heather I mentioned at the beginning? The gal who decoded Osama bin Laden's, all of his mobile media? She's an instructor at SANS and helps with events like these. And you can learn more at this URL. All right. So the secret to success is all about what you've learned. The more you understand how technology works, and it doesn't matter, you can specialize, coding and software, networking and routing, systems and applications, or maybe it's wireless like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter where your path takes you. Just as long as you've learned a lot but continue to learn, you will be successful. All right, didn't want to make this too long. Wanted to see what questions you folks have. And I see we've had one. Madison, Naveed, any other questions?
Lance, perfect. Thanks for that. I wish I had you when I was in high school. You convinced me to join cybersecurity. I don't see any questions on my end in the chat bar or the Q&A feature. But, opening it up to everyone here tonight, if you have any questions, it's a great time to ask and don't feel shy.
Yeah, and like I said, you're on a journey, and in this journey, you have to continually learn. What I learned 20 years ago, maybe 5% applies nowadays. The technology is always advancing and changing. Our methods advancing and changing. So if you have a passion to learn and love to see how things work, this is going to be a fantastic field for you. And once again, this cyber camp is another great opportunity. Naveed, I'll send you the slide deck afterwards. So people are asking about the links.
Please, yes, and I will post the slide deck on our CanHack Resource Hub as well as the Cyber Camp available. I think it's a great opportunity for students to practice, especially over the winter holidays and as they come up to the winter semester. Lance, I have a question for you. For some of the high school students that are in grade 11 and grade 12 as they look for post-secondary institutions, what suggestions do you might have on where they should go and what they should be looking for?
I mean, for college?
Yeah, college, university, whatever where they choose to desire, if they choose to go that route, or they choose to do any other specific route. What feedback could you give?
Oh, that's a good question. Now, there are degrees in cybersecurity, both undergraduate and graduate. And that's something to consider. But like I said, your success is going to depend on less the degree and more what you know. So I would say that's a really good question. What I'm trying to think of is this. I don't have a good answer. It's obviously you want to go to a good school, get that good degree. If there's a certain type of company you want to work for, like say you want to work for a Lockheed Martin or a Boeing or a Tesla, or SpaceX, reach out to SpaceX, reach out to Tesla, reach out to Snapchat and go, hey, I'm thinking of going to cybersecurity. What are you looking for? Where you're really going to have the advantage is it's less about the degree and the college you choose, but when you get to college, join clubs, get to work with people, get to know them. So if there's a computer hacking, if there's going to be an electronics group, a software development group, it's those clubs and those people and what you learn from them and how you help and contribute. That's really going to help you the most. So getting that degree, going to the right college, it's going to open some doors, but it's how you apply that at college. It's really going to help you with those opportunities.
Thanks, Lance, for that. One more question for you. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of your job, and why do you love what you do? And if there's one final
Yeah.
saying that to keep people passionate about cybersecurity, what would that be?
Well, there's also, I'll give the one thing in a moment. I mean, but it's a part of the world we live in. It touches every company. It touches everybody's life, every part of their life. It's changing. It's relevant. It's exciting. It's all those things. But the biggest one is difference, making a difference. Because the bad guys are so active and because the bad guys are hurting so many people, healthcare, utilities, financials, they're hacking schools, which is so devastating to see them take money away from an elementary school. So I'd say the biggest thing is, I'm a softie and I like the idea of making a difference. And, maybe there is a bit of me that likes to see I'm this part of a digital. I'd like to think this is me, but unfortunately, this is probably me. I'll take either one though, as long as I'm making a difference.
I love it. Love it. A couple more questions, Lance, since we have you here. What was one thing throughout your, extensive career that you weren't expecting about your job that you found that didn't necessarily catch you off guard, but that you wish that you knew beforehand?
It's a really good question. I would think for the past 20 years, I have always, starting in 2004, I remember because I started in 1999, but I really started seeing this in 2004. It's like every year, it's like, oh, it can't get any worse. It can't get any bigger. It can't get any more important, things like that. So, for example, in 2004, Microsoft enabled and turned on the firewall by default in the Microsoft Windows operating system. So before 2004, the firewall was off. In 2004, the firewall was on. And I remember talking to some of my buddies when that happened, and we were going, well, gee, we're out of a job now. Microsoft is so secure that it'll never get hacked and we're done. And in some ways, we were serious. And every year after that, the bad guys become more aggressive. They become more, they're attacking our election systems. They're attacking all sorts of things. That cybersecurity every year it gets crazier, bigger, and more important, and it just hasn't stopped, which is part of the fun, but part of, oh no.
Perfect. What would you say is the biggest challenge, and this is more about you personally in your journey, the biggest challenge you faced after graduation, rather maybe career-wise?
College or graduate school?
Both.
So graduating college was very easy for me because I was a history major, but I was also ROTC, so officer training. So I knew I had a job when I graduated.
Yep.
What was interesting is when I left the military and went for my MBA, Master's in Business, it was kind of interesting because while I was getting my Master's in Business, I was realizing, wow, I hate business. So I hate accounting, economics, marketing, sales. Yeah, I get it, but it's just not me. But then there was that one class about how to integrate and leverage technology, management information systems. So there was that one class. So don't be afraid to pivot. So if you're going to college, if you're going to grad school, and then all of a sudden, you go to law school and you're like, wow, this is not for me. Don't feel bad pivoting because that's what happened to me. I went to college and I went to the Army and I thought I'm going to make the Army a career. And I thought I was going to be a general. And after 4 years in the Army, I said, nope, I'm out, pivot. Went to graduate school. I thought I'd be specialized in business and become an executive. After 2 years of that, I'm like, nope, pivot. So I went to cybersecurity, found my passion, been doing it for 20 years.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you so much, Lance. Thank you for the authentic keynote and thank you for sharing. What a great way for us to end off the semester.
All right, guys, have a fantastic time. And SANS has a lot of resources for kids getting started, including that cyber camp. So please use them.
Yes, 100%, Lance. And I'll have the deck up on the website as soon as possible, as well as share those resources. And we'll send an email out with the winter camp to share with our students and teachers.
Fantastic. Thank you, Navi.
Perfect. Thanks, Lance. Have a great day. For the rest of everyone else here, we wish all of you happy holidays. Please be safe, and we hope to see you January 13th. Bye, everybody.